Hello, my name is Miriam Jaurrieta. Welcome to my final project for ILT 5003. My journey began a long time ago when I graduated with a bachelor's degree of science in applied learning and development from the University of Texas at Austin. Upon my graduation, I began my career as a bilingual second grade teacher for 3 years. I took a break, and after a span of a little over 10 years of staying at home with my children, I decided it was time to reconnect with my teaching once again. I began working as a therapist for students identified with dyslexia and realized that technology could be a great resource for them. Thus began my journey to obtain a Master's of Art degree in education with a concentration in instructional technology. My goal was to have a better grasp on technology and how it was being applied in the classrooms. With this knowledge, I would be able to better instruct students and provide them with life-changing opportunities from a research-based standpoint. Understanding the social-political nature of education is important because it provides us the opportunity to better understand where the system began, where it currently stands, and where it needs to be headed. Historically, minority populations, including Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, had been denied a quality education. Instead, their education consisted of learning traits that would benefit the economy run by white people, thus creating a gap in learning that we continue to see today. Latson-Billings explains the achievement gap by noting that an educational debt exists due to the injustices that minority groups have endured throughout education's history. The achievement gap is a disparity that continues to exist in the performance of white students versus Hispanic and Black students. It is important that we as educators understand this history in order to better understand the current struggles that many minorities continue to face today. Currently, school funding continues to be an issue that is based on class and race. Within districts, greater funding is provided to schools with high socioeconomic class students, and schools with a large percentage of low socioeconomic students, typically consisting of Blacks or Hispanics, receive less funding. Another issue affecting the political nature of education is the lack of involvement from minority groups in the policymaking process involving the different areas of education. I myself have experienced a shift in my belief system as I learned about social justice in education and when learning about the history of education of the United States. Becoming aware of the different educational practices based on social class led me to question the whole education system and my understanding of it. The fact is, I am not part of the system but merely a worker for the system since I don't take part in any of the educational decisions that impact me directly. This is both disheartening and powerful at the same time. Powerful because I now have a better understanding on what I need to do to help close the learning gap. I am better prepared to address issues affecting minority students and better prepared to instruct my students in a way that will allow them to break the class barrier. As an educator working in a Title I school, it is imperative that I recognize and critically address the issues currently affecting education with the knowledge gained. More than that, I need to implement teaching practices that don't reflect the socioeconomic status of my students. As presented by Anion, students' educational experiences are being defined by their social class. I need to help empower learners in order to help them climb education's social class ladder. The 6 foundational theories presented in this course allows for a better understanding of the educational experience of students as well as the different capacities for learning. Skinner's theory on behaviorism is daily seen in classrooms. Operant conditioning is a method that I mainly use for homework. Students are rewarded for completing this task, and it helps me establish expected behaviors that will benefit student learning. Education that is student-centered is a byproduct of Piaget's belief that students are individual learners that use prior knowledge in order to make connections and transfer knowledge. He, as well as Freire, reflect on the notion that the education system teaches students isolated information. For Piaget, learning better occurs when the student takes a more active role. For Freire, it is the active engagement of the learner that will transform the student and create a liberating atmosphere. When teachers use scaffolding to assist struggling students, they are incorporating Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. He believes students had a potential for learning that could be reached with the assistance of a more knowledgeable person or with the assistance of peers. Students can reach higher levels of learning by offering support that could then be removed as they understand new concepts. Situated learning from LeVay and Wegner is described as the experiences obtained and the social practices created from the interactions with our surroundings. This learning can be observed being incorporated in bilingual classrooms where students are paired with more knowledgeable students in order to assist the new learners in gaining greater confidence and promote more active participation. The use of technology in education is also a great motivational tool that allows learners to construct their own knowledge. Papert and Harrell advocate for more learner-centered environments that promote creativity and individualism. Knowles presents the different theories and principles that guide andragogy and explains that experiences, interests, and motivations need to be considered as adults have different circumstances for learning that require a greater involvement in their learning as well as more relevance to their current situations. Having the knowledge of the different pedagogical approaches to teaching can have a great impact on learners. Depending on desired outcomes, specific learning approaches could be employed with greater chances of success. Knowledge and understanding of the different theories like Papert and Harrell's situated constructionism will allow me to be a critically conscious educator that can engage in culturally and diverse learning environments like the incorporation of technology that allows students to create their own deeper meaning in learning. As an educator, I need to provide the best learning environments for my students. Incorporating their culture and making it relevant to their learning is a powerful way to enhance learning. I need to be sensitive to what students themselves are bringing to the classroom. Not all students learn the same or at the same rate, and some students might be experiencing personal issues about sexual identity that I need to be made aware of. My classroom will now incorporate the best teaching practices for students and will foster their individualities. I will help create a safe learning environment where dialogue and respect are as much part of the learning objectives. My concentration in this program is instructional technology, and my plan all along has been to become more involved in the robotics program at my school. Time has been a deterrent, but with my journey coming to an end this spring, I plan to jump into action and become a teacher sponsor for the program. With all that I have learned, my involvement will be less superficial as I am aware of all the benefits such programs can provide for the students. Students will be creating their own knowledge, social class will not be a barrier, and learning will be student-led. In my classroom, changes have already been implemented. Specifically, I am trying to redirect my questioning in order to make it more open-ended. My objective is to foster a critical thinking and problem-solving classroom atmosphere where students are not always told what to do. Teaching in a low-income school means most parents belong to a working class where decisions are made by people higher up in the employment chain. I refuse to be part of that educational class system that propagates this class through the school environment. Powered with the knowledge I have gained, my objectives are to transfer learning back to students. Knowledge and dialogue need to be student-centered and created. Students need to be prepared to become our future global leaders and decision makers. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.